welcome to my channel, Talk to the Hand Reviews. I'm Both Reviews Lady. Welcome. I do videos Mondays and Thursdays about all this and that, mostly makeup and fragrances, because I used to work in fragrance and cosmetics when I was 80s and 90s. And I like to talk about my memories of it and how I remember perfumes used to smell. And do they still smell the same, etc. So, but first, let's have a chair dance. Whee! Come on now. I know what we need. This is my attempting to keep people engaged. Oh, I lost my rhythm for a second. I'm going to cut that out for sure. Okay. All right, enough of that. You know, you should pick up a shaker. When you're feeling down, pick up a shaker. Put a little boogie in it. Put a little. Yeah, here we go. No, wait, we need something else. Aha! My apuche. This is a baby one. Okay, that's enough for now. Because I gotta tell you about a really classy lady. A classy lady who actually was Elizabeth Taylor. I want to talk about Elizabeth Taylor's Passion fragrance today. It came out in 1988. I launched it, basically meaning that the store that I worked at the time, it was my line to sort of take care of, to sort of have the counter space, do the promotion. And one of the things I'm doing now is all these perfumes back here, I saved up from when I worked in fragrances in the 80s and 90s and cosmetics. And I never opened any of these. These are all sealed. They're in my storage unit for years and years. Well, they've been closed up since the 80s, 90s. I have saved them to open with you so that I can tell you how I think so that I can tell you whether or not they still smell the same. But first I want to talk to you about Elizabeth Taylor's Passion and Elizabeth Taylor. I, by the way, love the original. I haven't smelled the new one, so I can't tell you whether or not I know they're different, but I do love the original. It had such a fragrance to me that it reminded me of like grapes, and they had a lot of really nice body products. And Elizabeth Taylor, it's hard to fathom what kind of, like, especially if you're a young person, what it meant to be her kind of movie star back in the day. She was like the movie star, and in fact, and it was back when people were in awe of movie stars, not when people treated movie stars like, you're just, you think you're special, or whatever. You know, that's the way a lot of these people get treated. Some get respect, but almost everyone in the movie industry is ridiculed and not treated the way that they were. They were revered. So one of the really neat things that Elizabeth Taylor did, not only was she a star from childhood, but she was the first female actor to negotiate herself $1 million contract and that was for her role in Cleopatra. And yeah, she was just really amazing. If you get a chance to watch any of her movies, you'll see how gorgeous. She was gorgeous, and she was revered for being gorgeous. And they said she had violet eyes. Violet eyes, wow. So all that is interesting, and much to her credit. And I want to tell you, I'll save the little funny story to the end. Okay, I'll tell you now. I remember we were promoting the fragrance, and this little old lady, who am I don't know, but this little old lady walked by, and I said, oh, would you like to try Elizabeth Taylor's Passion? And she turned her nose away, and she was walking, and she turned her nose away, excuse me, and she turned her nose away, and then she turned around and said, she stole Eddie Fisher from Debbie Reynolds. And I was like, it was really the first time anyone had ever said anything to me, such a thing, you know. And so I was like, so now I can tell that story to you. So Elizabeth Taylor was married like 8 times to 7 different men. One time, I think twice married to Richard Burton. But anyhow, I don't know that much about that. But I think that that's an interesting story. And aren't we personally angry when a star we like runs off with a star we don't like, or something like that? Oh, they were such a cute couple. Like, what? So-and-so came along, and then now he's with who? I can't blame the lady, but at the time I kind of thought, well, that seems petty. She doesn't know them. But we care about movie stars. We care about actors, and Debbie Reynolds, she's so cute. That's another story. Okay, so my final part of this Elizabeth Taylor's Passion, there was so much more. By the way, the men's fragrance, which came out like 2 years later, was a really nice men's fragrance too, and very unique. Both fragrances were very unique. And what was really different was I felt the men's fragrance complemented the women's fragrance. Like they were similar smelling, but the men's fragrance was very masculine and the women's fragrance is very feminine. Although I would say they could both be gender neutral. They could both, unisex. Excuse me. Nothing wrong with the word unisex, but Calvin Klein Company told us not to say unisex when we were promoting CK1. They said call it shared fragrance. They were mad. They were like, no, don't say unisex. Say shared. So, nowadays there's all different kinds of names, but yeah, I would say the men's and women's could both be gender neutral. So, but people do feel that it smells like, and there was no information about who nosed it. No information. I look usually at Fragrantica for who the nose was, and I try to find other stuff that they created so you can get an idea of what they did. But anyhow, so okay, Elizabeth Taylor's Passion. This is what people felt that it smells like. Let's see. All right, 63 people felt it smelled like passion for men. Okay, I don't agree, but okay, maybe it does now. Okay, let's see. 44 people thought it smelled like Belle of Versailles, which is a lovely fragrance. It was Michael Jackson's favorite, and I think actually Elizabeth Taylor turned him onto it. So maybe this is why people say it smells like it. I don't think it smells like it. And I used to sell Belle of Versailles, so I know it very well. I knew it in the 80s. Not the 90s, the 80s, I sold it. And I want to tell you a fun story about Michael Jackson. when I was women's fragrance counter manager in a mall, in a department store in the Beverly Hills area in LA, and I didn't see it, but celebrities came in all the time, and I was helping some customers, and Michael Jackson was wheeled in by his assistant, and he was dressed. They told me he was dressed as an old man. He was disguised as an old man. And they wheeled him up to the Fashion Fair counter, which is Fashion Fair was an excellent cosmetic company for darker skin. But I loved it. That, you know, it had pigment in the eyeshadows that you couldn't get. No one, I'd be like, how? Because I used to buy it. The shadows I bought, and I used to wear their shadows would last forever. Anyways, unfortunately, they went out of business not too long ago. They were still in the malls, but now Fashion Fair isn't around that I know of. I looked into it, and it seems like it's not. But anyhow, Michael Jackson came in and bought a whole slew of Fashion Fair and left, and they told me, Michael Jackson was just here, and blah, blah. And I didn't look up. I'm so mad. What did I do? I had my face in my counter. I was helping a customer. What the heck was I doing? I missed it, but I believe it was the truth, and there's the story to share with you. I have some other funny celebrity stories too, a little bit embarrassing. But, okay, so moving on. So Bella Versailles, Tom Ford, Purple Patchouli. Purple Patchouli from Tom Ford. Looks like 28 people thought that. 44 for Bella Versailles. Number 4, 21 people thought it smelled like Magie Noir. I would say maybe it did smell like Magie Noir, but Magie Noir was very dry with not a drop of sweet. That's how I remember it. Magie Noir was like a really sexy, warm fragrance, and no gourmand and no sweet. But this is a bit of a sweet fragrance, Passion, Elizabeth Taylor's Passion. So I would say I kind of agree with that. And the last one, 17 people thought it smells like Taboo by Dana, which I can't stand Taboo. I cannot stand it. But you know what's really fun and interesting? When you start looking up these fragrances, and there's a lot of fragrances people turn their nose at because they're inexpensive. But I love inexpensive fragrances. I grew up not being able to afford, it was just my mom and I, and we didn't have budget to spend a lot of money. We always had to be careful. But, so I had lots of those inexpensive fragrances, and I think they're fantastic. You know what's so fun to find out now? People will turn their nose up at an inexpensive fragrance like Taboo. But when you go and you look at who the nose was, it was an extremely famous nose, and he created a lot of big, expensive fragrances. He created Miss Dior. So before you're quick to put down some fragrance that someone's like, oh, you know, what is it? Oh, it's Charlie or whatever, which is, I just love Charlie, an old Revlon fragrance. Don't be so quick to tell them, oh, that's cheap, because you don't know who created it. You don't, and it's really fun to see that. It's almost like, aha, the person who likes the inexpensive fragrances, revenge. But okay, there's no revenge necessary. So, you know, do you like my little lace and my earrings? I wanted to wear purple in honor of the beautiful Elizabeth Taylor, because that was her color, and that was the color of passion. But now, the final, my mini unopened forever. I've never opened this. I didn't open any of these. I didn't need to or want to. I put them in a case, and then they were in stores. We're gonna find out. Is it I think it is the Parfum. So, it is. It's Parfum, not Eau de Toilette. Or I've opened a couple of these, and I was disappointed by a couple, but one I did really well with. So we're gonna see, right? Here we go. We're gonna open it. Our friend the Q-tip. I got it. Oh my gosh. It still smells the same. This is it. It's so beautiful. It's still so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I'm so thrilled because some of them I was kind of like, they didn't keep their thing, but oh my gosh. Oh, it still smells so nice. So see, parfums can sometimes, oh my gosh, it smells like the 80s. It smells like when I sold it. I'm gonna have to stop crying. I'm crying in too many of my videos now. You don't want me to cry all the time, do you? Okay, I'll have to have my big strong husband put that little guy back on because I want to close it up fast because it is still fantastic and I'm so happy to report it. I can't believe it. Oh man, wow. So that's pretty exciting for me. That's oh, it takes me back and it smells so good. It smells so good. All right, you guys, well, thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Talk to the Hand Reviews. I do appreciate that you're here. I just had my 1-year anniversary here with this channel, doing the videos twice a week, mostly twice a week. And I want to keep on doing more, and I want to share my memories of how these old fragrances used to smell, and let you know what I think. And I want to say, no matter what, try to enjoy your life and your life today, if you can. Get outside, if you can. Do something really enjoyable for yourself, because I think that is the only thing that matters in life. I really do. So anyhow, till I see you again, bye!